HealthWish is a series of conversations about the state of healthcare in New York City's fabulous fifth borough, Staten Island. Our goal is to raise issues, raise awareness, and raise health, because when we raise health, we raise everyone. Richard and Lois Nicotra are finding ways to bring joy and a deeper sense of community to their fellow Staten Islanders through art and architecture, landscape design, and socially responsible enterprises that touch people's lives and promote a sense of well-being. Let's join our special guests, Dr. Brahim Ardolic and Richard and Lois Nicotra, at their newest venture, the Pienza Brick Oven Pizza Cafe, where 100% of the profits benefit the community. Give it a listen.
So I do want to just take a second to talk about my favorite thing that you did, right? Some things are just about connecting with people and about giving people an opportunity to connect with themselves and with their own family. Your phone to nowhere. For me, that meant something as somebody who's gone through loss and has lost people close to them, really meant a lot. So the opportunity to put up a phone that you can just pick up and speak to somebody you've lost. Tell me about that. I know where the idea comes from, and yet you didn't make any money on that, right? That's just something you did that came from somewhere that about connection. Tell us about that.
You're getting teary-eyed, and you're making me teary-eyed, because we saw it on the Sunday morning show, and it was a story about a little girl that died at 5 or 6 years old, and the father of this little girl's best friend wanted to do something to help the family. So he went into the wood, he took a phone, and he mounted it on a tree, and told the family, and then the family went in, they picked up the phone, and they made a phone call to their daughter. But what they found was that strangers were coming, and they found this phone, and they were making phone calls. So as soon as we saw this, we ordered the phone booth. We said, let's do the phone booth.
And from London, you opened a London phone booth.
Yep.
Nice red phone booth. We got the phone, and we put it in.
And we saw this couple. This is just like last week.
They pull up, but then she got out of the car. She walked to the phone booth. We couldn't see her face. She had her back to us, but she was in there about a minute or so. She came out crying. She went back, they hugged each other, and they left.
It sounds crazy, but if you go in there and use the phone, you feel better. I don't know why, right? I don't know what it is about that experience, but there's something about it that you actually connect with people in a way that is just so incredibly meaningful. So thank you for doing that.
You know, in that area, we have a tribute to 9/11, because, you know, Staten Island lost the most people in 9/11, so we have all their names there. And we have a tribute to all the Vietnam veterans that died in Vietnam from Staten Island. But yesterday, a kid with autism came up to us. I mean, you know, you talk about the connections. You know, I love the 9/11, and I love what you did with the Vietnam. There's 86 guys from Staten Island who died in Vietnam.
Yep.
He said, but you don't have an American flag there. You have one in front of the Hilton. You have one in front of the Hampton Hotel. You don't have one there. I mean, what a great observation by an autistic kid that came.
And so now, a flag will be there soon.
So I did want to talk about this building. Today, I parked on the wrong side of the building. Then I looked up, and I was admiring the fact that the building was actually over me, because this is a giant parallelogram. And it is amazing to me that people that are so passionate about art and that care so much about sculpture really did build a building that is, frankly, it's a piece of art. And I think one of the coolest things for me is it looks different from every single angle. And when you're up next to it, it's a totally different experience than if you're far away from it.
This was an 8-year
Journey.
As much as the art and the building is a piece of art, big component on this property will be the flowers and the trees. Mm-hmm. You know, there was an article in yesterday's Times that talked about a process called Silver Cell, which is building a catacomb kind of area under the parking lot. So our trees, when we planted our trees will grow twice as high and live twice as long. Our flowers, I love when people walk along. We have a place called Rue des Artistes.
Yes.
You know, we have
right outside.
Bronze of Monet and Alexander Calder,
Van Gogh,
Andy Warhol. And people strolling and looking at these and looking at the flowers. I mean, this is Staten Island. Yes, you are in Staten Island. You should be proud. It's a great place to live and to bring up a family and to go to the doctors.
Yep.
Absolutely.
You're our hospital.
Yes.
We go to you.
And thank you for that. It means a lot when people not just do their business on Staten Island, but really take advantage of all the different things we have to offer, because the reality is you can get the same business offerings, you can get those things done and stay on the island. I think it's a message that we try to push so much every single day. I know how passionate you are about a couple of topics. I want to hit two of them. One, I do have to mention the sculpture that's right outside the entrance to the integrated charter schools, right? So
Girl power.
Yes, that is an incredible sculpture of an elephant that is being hoisted up on some pulleys by a couple of little girls. Tell us what that means, and tell us why you chose that one particular location.
Well, again, we chose that location because of the charter school. There's actually 4 little girls pulling up the elephant in a purple tutu, but we made them of different ethnic backgrounds to represent the complexion of the school that we have here, the charter school. And we both think that the boys have a lot of role models. The girls, not too many. So that's why we call it Girl Power. And there's a plaque that explains that these little girls can make this elephant fly because they have the right tools. And the right tools for these girls is to stay in school, get your education.
Yep.
And who knows, maybe you can make an elephant fly too. And we also have a little plaque there about if you see her, you can be her, which is another great movement for little girls.
I've been holding this book, 2 women again, but they wrote a book of how powerful it is to be nice. And, you know, not hard to do, but not often done. And just be nice. Why do people have to be mean sometimes and have
Like
to
the
be...
Taylor Swift song.
Yeah.
Why do you have to be so mean?
Just be a little nicer to each other. You know, hold the door for somebody that's behind you. Open the door for somebody.
So I have found that if you can lead with kindness, you actually get a lot of benefit from it. So I couldn't agree with you more. I think at the end of the day, approaching with a level of kindness and understanding, and frankly, I think that, you know, the benefit that we have in healthcare sometimes is if you look at it, we do see people at their not their best sometimes. But the reality is, if I was going through what some of my patients are going through, I wouldn't be at my best either. So the idea that you have to understand and try to lead with kindness is a big part of what we do, and I couldn't agree with you more. So we're in an Italian restaurant. We got to talk a little bit about food.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We're going to have to taste some.
Yeah. So
Maybe you can make a pizza.
So a lot of the food here is made pretty close by.
Very close by. 8 stories up?
About 8 stories up on the roof.
Yes, on the rooftop farm, our organic rooftop farm, which is 1 acre, and it's 2/3 vegetables, 1/3 flowers. The flowers you see around here are from our rooftop farm. And last year we produced 6,000 pounds of vegetables in 2 seasons. This year we start 1 season earlier, so we should have
Maybe
a lot more
9,000,
vegetables.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot more vegetables. And what can be fresher than picking the basil and bringing it right here, or getting the tomatoes and bringing it right down?
And as somebody whose dad grew up growing stuff in the backyard my whole life, if you don't understand the difference between a tomato that you get in the store
Big difference.
and a tomato that you actually get that was picked off the vine,
Major.
it's not even the same thing. So to everybody, I'd say come in and use the opportunity to actually do that. So just to kind of talk about that for a second, you have 2 restaurants here now that are 100% of the proceeds, 100% of the profits are actually going to charity, right? It's a pretty amazing opportunity. So if you're in this area and you actually just want to have a nice meal, you can actually help another human being by stopping into one of these 2 places. So I do want to ask you, first Commons Cafe. I'm going into Commons Cafe for lunch. What should I have?
Well, you can have a made-to-order salad. They have made-to-order sandwiches. They also do breakfast at the Commons Cafe.
There you go.
So you can have breakfast, which is...
Juice bar.
Oh, juice bar, and they have great scrambled egg and bacon on a roll.
So Commons Cafe does breakfast and lunch. Pienza does lunch and dinner. But the key is the food is great in both places. You can give all the money out that you want. You can say, we're not keeping a dime. If the food is not great, nobody's coming. And so I got to tell you, we're busy in both places. Pienza has been a big hit. The vibe is here. We're now going to start happy hour. We're going to open up later in the evening. We're going to open up on Saturdays eventually. Our crust is amazing, and you put fresh vegetables on it from the roof. More amazing.
And it's delicious.
And it's delicious.
So my last question for you before we make a pizza.
Yes.
It always starts and ends with the kids. You know, we mentioned earlier that you have the integrated charter school on your campus. What does that mean to you in terms of coming full circle on this property?
They're our future generation. It's a wonderful You know, it's just wonderful that they can come to school in a venue like this, surrounded by art, flowers, sculpture. What a great way, what a great campus, and a great way to enter school. You have a good feeling. So we're very proud to have them with us.
There was not another school in Staten Island that can offer the children what we could offer on this campus. And, you know, we don't have children. So we talk to these students. We get to know who they are. And they're wonderful kids. And how do you get them to mingle with business people? You know, how do you expose them to a doctor, a nurse, an accountant, an engineer, a guy selling insurance, an architect? They're all here in these buildings, and maybe they'll meet each other at Pienza or the Commons Cafe or at the Fountain.
Or it's an opportunity for them for the future.
Yeah. How do you explain? And then we're hiring them too, so
Yes.
they're working in our
The older students.
Yeah, we're actually we're doubling on that as well. We're doubling down on that. We have all sorts of engagements with children in different environments to actually get them exposed to work in healthcare. You know, the way we look at it, what could you do better than actually make a solid living and actually be able to help people while you're doing your job? So we're heavily involved with a lot of these schools and really trying to get these kids to stay on Staten Island or come back to Staten Island when they're done with their education. So yeah, couldn't agree with you more. We got to invest in that generation of people because at the end of the day, they are the ones that are going to take care of all of us.
Yes, exactly.
One way or another. So I think we have to really think about what that actually means as we actually move forward. So I do have to tell you, you've been torturing me for the last 15 minutes or so because I get to smell the pizza behind me.
Smell that, right?
And I think I'd really like to make a pizza.
We'd love that.
We're going to do it.
All right.
All right.
Come.
Let's go.
HealthWish wishes to thank our very special guests, Dr. Brahim Ardolic and Richard and Lois Nicotra. We're very interested in your health wish. Contact us at healthwish@northwell.edu. Thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again soon.